This is Obsidian ASMR. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for future videos. Welcome back to the final installment of what happened in Dragon Ball Z. With me, your host, Obsidian ASMR. Before we get into it, I'd like to know what you would like to see in a future series. Would you like me to go back to Dragon Ball? Would you like to go through Dragon Ball GT? Or would you like me to go through the Dragon Ball movies? Or finally, Dragon Ball Super? It's up to you. You've enjoyed these videos. I've enjoyed making them. So, if you want to see more, let me know in the comments below. Now, with that out of the way, we find ourselves in the midst of a precarious situation. Majin Buu has been revived, and he's wreaked havoc since his resurrection, killing his master Babidi, destroying the Demon King Dabura by turning him into a cookie and eating him. Vegito has sacrificed himself in an effort to atone for his foolishness and to destroy Majin Buu. But sadly, that sacrifice was in vain. And then Goku and Piccolo are desperately trying to teach Goten and Trunks the fusion dance in order to get the power needed to fight Majin Buu, an unlikely hero in the form of Mr. Satan, has stepped forward, and rather than fight Majin Buu, he has befriended him, leading to the Pink Menace decreeing that they will no longer fight or hurt anyone. Will that peace or that vow last? That is what we're going to find out in Season 9 of The Orange Bricks. This is quite an important character that we'll get into later on. But as always, let's look at the back. So as it says here, it includes the exciting conclusion to Dragon Ball Z, the Fusion, and the Kid Buu sagas. Majin Buu's spree of terror continues, and his ruthlessness knows no bounds. In his quest to eliminate the remaining Z fighters, Buu has cut a path of destruction across the face of the earth, leaving a trail of devastation so utterly complete that it may even be beyond the power of the Dragon Balls to repair. With their efforts to stop Majin Buu quickly proving futile, the Sea Fighters have but one remaining hope against this seemingly invincible foe: the fusion technique. But for this desperate plan to succeed, Goku will have to join forces with his oldest rival, Vegeta. Can the combined efforts of these two mighty Saiyan warriors put a stop to Majin Buu once and for all? The final battle for the fate of the universe begins. So, just as a visual, you got 3 Majin Buus, which is interesting. We'll get to that later. Here you've got Gotenks, Gohan, another character, Vegeta, and Goku. Let's open it up. So as always, let's have a look at the heroes and the enemies. So you got Goku in his blue gi, a bit of an outdated version of Vegeta, wearing the armor that Bulma made him during the Saiyan Saga, the Android Saga. You've got Gohan looking more like his father in that classic orange and dark blue gi. You've got Super Saiyan 3 Gotenks, which is obviously the fused version of Trunks and Goten. You've got Mr. Satan, Majin Buu as a hero, interesting. Kibito Kai, and we'll get to who that is and how that, or they, became to be a person. And then this little character called Oob. Then the big guy himself, Vegito. So, arguably one of the most powerful characters in the Dragon Ball universe. There's quite a heated debate over who's more powerful, Vegito or Gogeta. And I can explain that there are 2 types of fusion. And in this stint of episodes, you actually get to see both of them demonstrated in the storyline. So that's interesting. But Vegito, I'll rate this because he is quite pivotal. When things become too much for the Z Fighters, Goku and Vegeta must make a difficult decision. Perish under Buu's tremendous strength, or wear the Potara earrings, permanently fusing them together. It's a bit of a giveaway. when the choice was made, Vegito was born. Vegito fights Majin Buu in various forms, including Super Saiyan, and even as a piece of candy. It is when Vegito is absorbed into Buu's body that the two warriors separate again. They later decide to remain as individuals. Well, that is a bit of a spoiler, but there we go. Enemies. It's all going to be one person. So we've got Evil Buu, and Super Buu, and Kid Buu. And then we get into the main attraction. So strap yourselves in for this final run of 38 episodes. Are you ready? Let's go. So, episode 254, The Evil of Men, revolves all around the greed and the callousness of humanity, and how it can push someone, in this case Majin Buu, to break their vows. And this happens as they, Mr. Satan and Buu, found a starving dog, and they fed it, nursed it back to health with kindness and love. But during a raid by a deranged madman, he shoots the dog, and Buu, enraged by this, goes on a bit of a rampage and deals with the madman. But due to the emotional state that it put Majin Buu in, it leads to him expelling this big kind of pink cloud, and that cloud turns into Evil Buu. So the evil within Majin Buu had been expelled and turned into this kind of like grey, withered figure, and the two of them start to clash. The fight doesn't last long, and it ends up with the Evil Buu turning the good Buu, or the fat Buu, into chocolate, and eats him. This turns Evil Buu into Super Buu. So for those of you that are struggling to keep up, this is Evil Buu, and this is Super Buu. Quite an iconic design. So, the new Majin Buu goes to Kami's lookout. What was Kami's lookout? It's probably more like Dende's lookout, to challenge Gotenks. And in the process, he gets coaxed into the hyperbolic time chamber after hunting the Z-fighters who were on the lookout. This is where Goten and Trunks have been training and attempting to master the fusion dance. They are successful. Oh, sorry, the rematch is on. But this time, Gotenks has a couple of new moves. Firstly, he can go Super Saiyan, and he also has this kamikaze ghost move where he kind of like blows bubblegum, but it's ghost versions of himself, and on the touch they explode. So the battle keeps raging, and it looks as if Gotenks is getting the better of him. Before Majin Buu escapes the hyperbolic time chamber, leaving Piccolo and Gotenks trapped inside. This was quite a horrific episode, because effectively what happens here is Krillin and the other Z fighters that had been on Dende's lookout had to deal with Majin Buu, and effectively they all get turned into candy and eaten by Buu. This is where Super Saiyan 3 Gotenks breaks out of the hyperbolic time chamber, and they start battling quite intensely from what I remember. However, we have a bit of a sideshow or switch to Gohan on the world of the Kais, where he's been training with Elder Kai, Supreme Kai, and Kibito, who I think at this point are fused. Gotenks is taking the upper hand in the battle with Majin Buu before his techniques begin to fall apart. Effectively, they're waiting for awakened Gohan to reach the battlefield and deal with Majin Buu. And in typical Dragon Ball Z fashion, Gohan arrives in the nick of time as Gotenks' fusion becomes expired, so they part, and that's part of the trouble with the fusion dance technique. They can only stay fused for a certain amount of time. I think it's about 30 minutes. And dependent on how powerful the individuals are, it could actually be less time. So it could be 10 minutes if they're super powerful. And that makes an appearance in a subsequent Dragon Ball series. But Gohan appears. Awakened Gohan appears and starts to take the fight to Majin Buu. Buu is getting quite desperate because Gohan, quite like he did with Cell, is outmatching him, and it's a very one-sided fight. So, quite like Cell, he decides to blow himself up. But is this just a ploy? Well, it could be. And it turns out that it is. So, the ambush that Majin Buu is plotting is any part of him can be missing, but it can be controlled by Majin Buu. Okay? So, what that does mean is that he can use that part of his body to encircle and entrap a different fighter or an enemy and then absorb them. And that's what happens as Buu absorbs both Gotenks and Piccolo, which endows him with the wisdom of Piccolo and the power of Super Saiyan 3 Gotenks. And he dubs himself Super Buu. This time, when the battle recommences, and I must say, these absorptions transform Buu, and you never, in the video games, see the Piccolo version of Buu, because it was on the screen for like such a short amount of time. And similarly, you rarely see the Gotenks absorbed version of Buu, but you do see a different one. So in episode 266, the old guy's weapon, with the absorption of Piccolo and Gotenks, Majin Buu's powers have increased exponentially. Armed with fresh ideas in his head and new tricks up his sleeve, most notably the ghost kamikaze technique that Gotenks had just unveiled. Majin Buu has paved a road to global and universal destruction. Gohan is fading quickly, and he can't keep up with the Super Buu that was in front of him. So, this is where a new gambit is proposed by the old guy, and it comes in the form of the Potara earrings. They are a separate form of fusion, where two individuals both wear one of the earrings, and it merges those two people permanently. So there's no time limit. The two individuals don't have to be the same power level, and there's no tricky fusion dance. It is often viewed in the fan base as the more potent and powerful form of fusion, although that is hotly debated because people have their favourites, whether that's Vegito or Gogeta. I will say that the whole fused permanently spiel is slightly incorrect, because if one of the earrings seems that undoes the fusion. And there are other ways to undo it. So, equipped with Potara earrings, Goku arrives on the battlefield with a view to fusing with his son, and thus having the power to defeat Majin Buu. However, Buu is clever enough and tactical enough to understand what's about to happen, and he uses the same absorption technique to absorb Gohan, much to Goku's dismay. Luckily, Gohan drops the other Potara earring, so all is not lost. And another fighter from beyond the grave appears to help in the battle against Majin Buu. Vegeta is back, but will the Saiyan Prince put aside his differences and agree to merge with Goku? I think we know the answer. So in episode 269, meet Vegito, this guy. Goku and Vegeta successfully fuse. The monster, Majin Buu, is impressed, and there he is with the Gohan gi. By Vegito, but he refuses to take him seriously. Well, he should have taken him seriously, because Vegito and Super Vegito basically starts toying with Majin Buu. It's all too easy. There's nothing that Majin Buu can throw at him that Vegito can't match, even to the point here where Vegito is turned into a piece of candy by Majin Buu, and it looks like the end for the Z Fighters and the universe. Or is it? No, it isn't. Because the coffee-flavoured candy, formerly Vegito, starts to fight back. And it was one of the weirdest things that I've seen in a Dragon Ball Z episode. But the reason why they do it is to get inside of Majin Buu and use that Trojan horse technique. Why were they trying to get in there? Well, they needed to save their friends rather than just condemn them to being killed by Majin Buu when they ultimately defeat Majin Buu. And that's what they do in the innards of Buu. But they kind of come up against Buu's antibodies as against mind-controlled, or seemingly mind-controlled, versions of Gotenks, Piccolo, and Gohan. In Deadly Vision, they do find where Gohan and the others are being kept within Buu in these kind of like pink cocoons. But they also find the good Buu, the fat Buu, in one of those cocoons. So they decide to rescue them all and get out of one of Buu's holes in his head through the steam vents. But this causes Majin Buu to transform once more, and this is where Kibito Kai begins to discuss Majin Buu's history as Kid Buu. So this one is actually the pure or original version of Majin Buu. And it turns out that over the years that he was used by Bibbidi, he would absorb stronger warriors like he did with Gotenks, Piccolo, and Gohan. One of those was the former Supreme Kai, who was a gentle warrior, but was a big, jolly gentleman who formed the basis of the original Fat Buu that we saw emerge from the cocoon. So, that one. What I never fully understood with this was why you didn't see those versions, or those warriors, in cocoons in this Buu's head. But the only way I think I can logically rationalize it is that they were inside the good Buu, and they could be removed. But maybe that would bring about another version of Kid Buu. Who knows? So, Majin Buu successfully destroys the Earth, leading Goku and Vegeta to bring Kid Buu and some of the other survivors, like Dende, to the world of the Kais. They lure Kid Buu to the planet by raising their power levels, setting the stage for the battle of all battles. Over the next couple of episodes, after playing a game of rock, paper, scissors to decide who faces Kid Buu first, the two of them attempt to fight Kid Buu and to sort the issue out. Super Saiyan 3 Goku can't keep up, which leads to Vegeta bringing himself into the fray. gains a second wind in order to save Vegeta and keep the fight going. And laying there, looking up at Goku, fight off Kid Buu, Vegeta makes this touching tribute to Goku and finally admits that Goku is the better Saiyan and thus completes his character arc. When I was a kid, that really moved me. And it's fantastic, and it was fantastic, to see Vegeta fighting like Goku for something other than himself. So, in a minute of desperation, episode 281, Goku's powers start to diminish again. So Vegeta, putting aside his pride and fighting for his loved ones and the new adopted home of the Earth, says to Goku he will buy the time that he needs to defeat Martian Buu. All Vegeta's trying to do is stay in the fight, be the distraction, rather than take the glory for himself. And that's a powerful, powerful thing. So old Buu now begins to emerge. Further to Mr. Satan stepping in to try to take up the mantle, take up the mantle of distraction that Vegeta had started, seeing as Vegeta was about to be killed. Buu tries to attack him, as in Mr. Satan, but every time he does, he's stricken with agony, internal agony, like a pain. And that turns out to be the good Buu, or the fat Buu, resisting and trying to save Hercule, or Mr. Satan. Kid Buu then expels that fat Buu from his body to stop the limitations that were being placed on him. This leads to the good Martian Buu starting an all-out war against Kid Buu. Then Vegeta makes a tactical decision, asking Dende to summon the dragon, Poronga, on New Planet Namek, and use Poronga to restore the Earth and its inhabitants to life. His plan is to call on the people of Earth to effectively lend Goku their energy for a spirit bomb, which is poetic because that was what Krillin used to almost kill Vegeta all the way back in the Saiyan Saga. However, the people of Earth don't listen to Vegeta because they don't know who he is. So it ends up being Mr. Satan who steps in and asks humanity to have a change of heart. And it succeeds. The spirit bomb reaches critical mass. And just as Vegeta is saved from Kid Buu's grasp, Goku launches the spirit bomb return to Earth. They're welcomed by their friends, but they all are a bit worried to see the Good Buu. And they worry about how he can fit in to society, or whether he'll become an outcast. While Mr. Satan decides that Martian Buu can live with him, and they'll give him a new identity, and he'll look after him, which is a touching thing. In episode 288, it's more of a filler episode, where Goku is off guarding 4 dragon eggs from the dangers of the wild. Nothing really to remember here for the major story, other than just Goku is a friend of nature and just a general good person. And I think it's harkening back to some of Gohan's training from the Saiyan Saga. Then we're introduced in a time skip 10 years forward to Pan, Goku's granddaughter. Trunks and Goten have become teenagers. Gohan is a scholar. Vegito and Bulma have a new daughter called Bulla, or Bra. And the other thing to bear in mind is this is a new World Martial Arts tournament, and this strange kid has appeared. After defeating Majin Buu, Goku wished for Kid Buu to be resurrected as a good entity, so that he could meet and train him one day. Well, that is this kid. And they use Majin Buu's powers to arrange a fight at the World Martial Arts Tournament between Goku and Oob. The two of them fight before he reveals to Oob that he wants to train him. And then, to the shock of the audience, the two of them leave together to begin that training. And that, everyone, is the end of Dragon Ball Z. Thank you so much for watching and supporting this series. It means a lot, and I've thoroughly enjoyed talking it through with you. If you have enjoyed the series and you want to see more, let me know. Give the video a like, drop a comment, and if you'd be so kind, why not subscribe and help this little community reach 1,000 subscribers. We're almost 3/4 of the way there. I love this series. I always have. The nuance, the battle between good and evil in everybody, and the ability to always redeem yourself. A core that's okay. The key is to learn from them and to strive to be better than you were yesterday. You won't necessarily always be better. Progress isn't linear. But just keep putting one foot in front of the other and know that you have support. And hey, at least I believe in you for what it's worth. Thank you so much again. You all mean so much to me, and it's an honor to make these videos for you. With all that being said, take care of yourselves and each other. Goodbye for now, everyone.